Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be discussing a topic that's been very hot in the Fortnite community over the past few days, the state of competitive Fortnite as a whole. And I think I'm going to title this video something along the lines of like, the hard truth, Fortnite doesn't really care about competitive, so that should give you a decent preview of the direction that we're going to go with this. So a few days ago, the details of this season's Trios FNCS was finally revealed by Fortnite, and I say finally here because they basically waited until the day before the FNCS warm-up started, which is probably an issue in itself, but we'll just ignore that. So when the details were finally released to the public, there were two things that made the competitive community really angry. The first was that the prize pool was severely reduced compared to last Trios FNCS, which occurred roughly 9 to 10 months ago in Season X. According to a graphic I saw on Reddit, the last Trios FNCS had a total prize pool of roughly 9.2 million US dollars, and then this one is going to have a prize pool of just under 5 million, so it almost got cut in half pretty much. And then, staying on topic of the prize pool, the other thing that made the majority of pros angry is that this FNCS is another one that's going to split the money 50-50 between PC and console. Now, I've made multiple videos talking about this in the past, so I'm not going to get too into that, but we've now had 2 to 3 evenly split PC and console prize pools in a row for FNCS, so I think it's pretty safe to assume at this point that you can expect that to be the norm going forward. No guarantee, but I think especially with next-gen consoles coming soon, Fortnite's going to continue to cater to console players much more than in the past, and that's obviously good news for a lot of you console competitive players. So when it comes to these shrinking FNCS prize pools, we continue to see more and more proof that, as I said earlier, Epic Games just doesn't really care about competitive Fortnite as much as some people think they should. And I want to make it clear that this is not just about decreasing prize pools. In all honesty, that's one of the smaller factors here. When Fortnite was a relatively new game and competitive was just starting to form, I and many other people believed that it had the potential to be one of the best competitive shooters of all time. The building and editing mechanics were just so unique, we had never seen anything like it before, and it gave the game an insane skill gap, which is always a good thing for competitive. And it's not like there had never been a successful competitive battle royale before. I know Fortnite kinda wiped them off the face of the earth, so you may not remember, but before its release, H1Z1 and PUBG both had pretty successful competitive scenes as a whole. Definitely not perfect, but they were definitely on the right track at that point in time. Now sure, even a year after Fortnite's release when competitive was first starting to get serious, there were still some kinks to be worked out with the servers, the scoring system, the presentation, because it was hard to spectate with 100 different people to potentially watch, but there was still a ton of promise. But then, I believe somewhere around the 1.5 to maybe 2 year mark or so, maybe around Season 9 to X roughly, Fortnite decided that they didn't really need competitive as much as they probably initially thought they would. See, the thing is, creating a successful competitive scene in a game is usually needed to make it stay popular for anything more than a year or two. When you look at a game like Overwatch or maybe Counter-Strike for example, not a ton of people play casual public matches in those games, pretty much everybody just plays competitive. Without the successful competitive scene that these games have, their player base would die down really quickly because the game would get repetitive and there would really be nothing to work towards. Even when you look at a game like Call of Duty for example, yeah sure they had about a 4 to 5 year stretch from COD 4 to Black Ops 2 where they just couldn't miss with games, and that basically led to them being the king of gaming even without a super popular comp scene yet. But then when the developers went through another 4 to 5 year stretch of releasing a bunch of bad games in a row, what kept it somewhat relevant was competitive, which was quickly growing in popularity. But with Fortnite, they were pretty much the kings of gaming from the very beginning. And maybe more importantly, with things like the Battle Pass, challenges, creative mode, and in-game events, even very casual players can grind this game without it ever really getting super repetitive. And at the end of the day, those casual fans are always going to be the ones giving Fortnite the most money because they're the players that care the most about things like cosmetics. So once they realized that, I think their strategy basically shifted to this. They said, hey, we don't really need to put all our time and effort into building this crazy competitive scene if casual players love our game so much. Let's just throw a couple million at each major event, which is basically pocket change for us, run some cash cups every week to keep those competitive guys at least somewhat engaged, and then let's spend the vast majority of our time catering towards the casual players. That right there would explain why Arena mode is still an absolute joke even after 2 years. That explains why Fortnite constantly leaves super OP items in competitive for weeks or even months. And that explains the lack of communication and care for the competitive scene in general. But here's the craziest and also scariest part about all that. From a business perspective, it may legitimately be the right move to make. At the end of the day, Fortnite is a business venture with one main goal: to make as much money as possible. If their research and testing and focus groups show that putting competitive on the back burner is going to increase their profit in the short and long term, they're going to do it in a heartbeat and not even think twice. So I think a lot of these pros have the misconception that, oh, Fortnite's just stupid, the people running it have no clue what's going on, and they're gonna ruin competitive with their incompetency. Now, I'm not gonna totally rule that out because to some degree it might be true, but maybe at the end of the day, putting time and money into making Season 4 this crazy crossover with Marvel is a better marketing tactic than putting that money into prize pools and making competitive better. At the end of the day, I guess we'll never know for sure, but a multi-billion-dollar company isn't just gonna blindly guess with those kind of decisions. They probably have done so much research and testing that it would make the average person's head spin. So what does this mean for the future of competitive? Well, I don't think it's as bad as I may have made it sound. Since Fortnite generates just an absurd amount of money, they can keep throwing millions of dollars in prize money at every major event. And even though that may end up being less than it was in past events, it's still more than pretty much every other competitive game out there. And honestly, if you're a console player specifically, the outlook for that side of competitive is probably at an all-time high because it seems like they're going to keep doing equal prize pools. But at the same time, when it comes to balancing competitive Fortnite, communication with the community, listening to feedback, and just in general improving the experience as a whole, I definitely wouldn't expect too much on that front. Odds are when Season 5 rolls around, there's going to be 2 to 3 super OP weapons/items that for some reason don't get removed from Arena or competitive for at least the first few weeks. There'll probably be 2 to 3 major tournaments that get ruined by a terrible scoring system, or maybe some crazy glitch or exploit that could have easily been fixed earlier. We've seen this stuff so frequently over the past 2 years or so, clearly Fortnite doesn't care enough to really address it, and I think you'd be foolish to expect anything different going forward. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on what I said in this video? Do you think I'm overreacting? Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.